Okay, so what we're being asked to do here is to determine whether this function, whether this equation, I should say, is a function. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a table of values. And then we're going to go ahead and bring in the definition of what a function is and see if we have a function or not. So to make a table of values, what I would recommend is looking for the variable that has the exponent. And I'll tell you why that makes sense in a little bit. And we're going to use that one as our input. So this equation looks a little different from what you are used to seeing, because often we set things up to come out in a particular way. And I know that's not real clear language I'm using there, but I think you'll see what I mean as I go on. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and use the y as the input, which is really unusual. And I'm going to use my knowledge of this kind of problem to get us somewhere. My approach wouldn't make sense necessarily. You might not go into this problem in this way, but because I have some knowledge of what's happening, I'm able to predict what's going to happen. So let me plug in a -4. Okay, and so that's going to be my input. So then I'm going to do -4 to the second power is equal to -2x minus 1. Now I'm going to square, so I get a 16. And then I get a -2x minus 1. And what I want to do, well, I'll do it in a new step. I'm going to take this, because that's where we're at. And I'm going to put that there, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a 1 to both sides. And just bear with me. So that's a 17 minus 2x. And the last thing I need to do is divide both sides by -2. Divide both sides by -2. So 17 halves is 8.5. But because 17 divided by 2 is 8.5. But since I'm dividing by a negative, then it's a -8.5. So then that's what x is. Okay, so that's the work over here. We're going to put a -8.5 on this side. So we got. Now, let me pick another point. Let's try a -2. And then let's do a 0. And let's put a -2. I'm sorry, 2. and a fourth. Now, I'm gonna ask you to pause this recording and to work out the answers for these on your own now that you see that we have a way of doing this kind of work. I'm going to let you do these on your own, and then I'll fill out the table and we'll complete this problem by looking at the definition for a function. Okay, so we've gone ahead and filled out our table, and I've added the definition we need of a function. A technical definition of a function is a relation. So we have a relation. Basically, we have a pairing of an input and an output. Okay? But the more important part is a relation from a set of inputs to a set of possible outputs where each input is related to exactly one output. So what's happening here is that we actually have the input 8.5, which leads to -4, but at the same time, -8.5 leads to 4. So it turns out that each input, in this case, is not related to exactly one output, because we have at least one case where the input is related to two outputs. In fact, the same is the case for 2.5, where it's related to two outputs. So in the end, the bottom line is this is not a function. Sometimes we say this relation is not a function, and I'm referring to this whole equation here.